catch driver, which driver or style of driver would you try to model yourself after?
That's easy. It'd definitely be John Campbell.
I think John Campbell has been the role model for a while.
Yeah, it's easy. John Campbell. John Campbell, Billy O'Donnell back in the day. I think those two people are still hard to find a better driver. I don't care what they say. John is the ultimate catch driver, and Billy, when Billy was in his prime, he was every bit as good as a Gretzky or whatnot. Campbell and O'Donnell, maybe it's my age, but I don't think they can be equaled.
I've always thought John Campbell was the best, and Bill O'Donnell. Those guys are guys I grew up watching, and they're icons in the industry, and I think they always drove a horse intelligently, and that's the kind of driver that I would try and emulate if I could get back to that weight category.
I think it would be somebody like John Campbell or Doug Brown. Growing up, I really looked up to the two of them, and I loved betting on their horses and watching their horses race. And I don't think I could have picked two better drivers and two classier drivers, so them for sure.
Conservative, probably after John Campbell.
My favorite all-time driver was Herbie Fillion. He was my idol. He's actually only 4 years older than I am, so we knew each other when we were young. But I looked up to him. I liked his style.
Well, driving's changed so much, so, unfortunately I wouldn't model myself after Hervé Fillion, even though he's one of the greatest. Today, I admire Tetrick, I admire Gingras, I admire Jody Jamieson. I guess that's who I admire. They have great success, obviously, but I would like to think that I'd still have my own individual driving, whatever style or whatever.
Well, I guess it has to be Timmy T because he's leading, but I'm old school, so I'd probably be just like JC.
Well, Jody Jamieson is number one, and he's there for a reason. I do like Rick Zeron's driving. Rick can get 100% out of a horse, and he can get a horse from the head of the stretch home like as good or better than any driver driving in Toronto.
Oh, probably Sylvain Fillion.
Well, I'm kind of an aggressive guy, so I'll go after any of the young guys that drive aggressive. That's probably how I'd do it.
Well, I actually did the opposite of a lot of people maybe. I actually started as a driver and became a trainer. So I drove lots before I started driving, and I was pretty aggressive. I'm going to say I was I wasn't near as good as them, but I'm going to say I was like a Mark McDonald maybe. I was very aggressive, maybe saw a lot of air on the outside of the track. So I guess I'd say I try to go after a Mark McDonald style. Anybody that knows me, I like my horses driven extremely aggressively, and I'm not too happy when they're locked in, so I like the aggressive approach.
Anthony McDonald's my favorite driver right now, so I'd probably want to be Anthony.
If you were unable to make your drive for a horse you owned in a major stakes race, who would you get to drive for you?
That has happened, and I had James drive my horse for me. It was the first year I was driving. I can't remember why I was late. I'm usually pretty punctual, so.
Well, that would kind of depend on the horse. But, if it's kind of a lazy horse, there's a lot of aggressive drivers. I can kind of get a lot more out of it. But if I had to pick an all-around driver, I would say James McDonald.
Oh, that is a tough one. Let's say it was right here, right now, tonight. There's three young guys that, if they were available, Billy Davis, Scott Zeron, Doc McNair. I know they haven't driven for big money races a lot, but I would definitely like to give the opportunity to a young guy, and those three guys can get the job done.
Who would I get to drive my horse if I couldn't be there? Number one choice would be my son Scott.
Doug McNair or Jody Jameson.
Probably Dougie McNair or Sylvain Fillion.
Well, I probably would get Sylvain Fillion. He's a good friend of mine, and plus he's the O'Brien's Award winner from last year, so I would be very at ease with Sylvain driving my horse.
I've had Sylvain Fillion drive for me 3 or 4 times, or more than that, and he's always done well, and obviously I really like his driving. Another thing is you'd like to give one of your friends a chance, are going through the same struggles you are. Guys that I know in this that I trust is like Ryan Holiday and Rob Sparling, and maybe I give my man Tyler Borth a chance, I don't know.
John Campbell,
because he's the best.
Definitely Ron Pierce. He's a master at creating the race to come to him, so I'd go with Ron Pierce.
Ron Pierce. Or Steve Connor. Someone that kind of drives Simon the way I do. Patient.
I would probably get Mike Saftik.
Paul McDonnell.
I'll go with Vintage.
Right, Brian Sears, I guess. Be a good pick.
Probably Brian Sears, maybe. Somebody like that.
Brian Sears.
I've always been like Brian Sears fan. He's always been my favorite. You know, the way he keeps them live, and he seems to always be in the right spot. So, him for the States for sure. But like up here, there's plenty of drivers too. You know, I don't want to list any just in case a couple guys get mad. But like there's definitely a few guys that a lot of guys can get the job done with the right horse.